reseat a power cable, internal power cable on a DakTech Plaidlet 4 chassis. Which tools you'll need. I have a #1 drill bit, Phillips drill bit, and then I also have just a slotted utility tool, a little slotted screwdriver. You start by, I turn it over, hit this actuator clip to remove the battery. Now what that is going to do, it's going to expose, take the battery out, and it's going to expose the screws along with these 2 clips, and those are used, you push them back, those are used to remove the keyboard. Now however you want to do that, just hit the clips, push them towards the back, and that should release the keyboard from the chassis. But even though it's released from the chassis, it's not released, the system board's not released from the keyboard is not released from the system board. So on either side of this connection, you need to push these to the right, and it releases the keyboard cable. Now that comes out without any effort at all. So if it's jamming at all or tough to pull out, then you don't have these clips out far enough. Okay. Then what you need to do is start by taking this aluminum cover off, and take a little Phillips screwdriver bit and remove those screws. You might need a smaller screwdriver for these. Once you get the top cover screws out, you take that off. Then it exposes the system board. You have the memory module, and you'll have the system board. There's 2 different sizes of screws that are going to be in this on this front part. You got the larger screw that's holding the touchpad bezel, top bezel in, and it's right here, 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 and here. Then you also have a smaller screw that is just mainly for the hard drive, 3 of the points on the hard drive. That's here, here, and here. What I've done is I removed those. You take the memory out by taking these little clips, pushing them to the outside. Remove the memory, put it off to the side. There's also another little clip holding the hard drive cable to the system board. That part comes up, just folds up, and then like the keyboard, it should come out without any effort, too much effort, and just remove the hard drive. Put that off to the side. Now, one more thing to do before you get to turn it over and take those screws out is there's 2 cables here from the touchpad cover to the system board itself. Just take those on the outside of those connections. There's 2 little clips. Move those away from the connection, and then there's a little tab there that comes out, and do the same with the other cable. Just make sure those cables are out and loose. Then you can close it up, turn it over. Okay, then right here there's 4 little rubber bumpers that have to come out on the very front of the machine, and then 2 at each corner on the back. Okay, those take those out to expose the screws. Now I'll put these screws out to the side. Now there's going to be 2 different sizes of screws on the back. Now, important here because everyone except for 1 is the larger screw, and they go in to remove the screws on the back, but there is 1 smaller screw, and that goes right here. That comes from that area right there, that screw hole right there. Do not replace that with a larger screw. You'll damage the touchpad bezel. Okay, once you get all those removed, then turn it back over, making sure you have your memory out, the screws out, and these cables loose. Now, what you need to do there is, after that, with a little working, this touchpad bezel comes off. It folds up, or folds at the, from the front to the back. Oh, one thing you want to do first is there is a rear cover. Take that out. Then you can take the touchpad bezel off. And it comes off there. Whoop. A little convincing there, but okay. The cable you were talking about, or we're talking about, is this cable that connects to the bottom here, the bottom connection. And a lot of times there'll be some tape there, and you can see that it's flush. It needs to be flush with that connection, okay? And a lot of times, see if I can, I just put this off to the side. A lot of times this cable will be off just a bit. I don't know if you really can see it, but it'll be off that little bit even with the tape on there. So what I'll do is I'll take the tape off, then I'll reseat that cable, make sure it's in there nice and snug. Then you can either take the tape that was with it, or what I do is I just get a little piece of, you know, duct tape or whatever, then I put tape back on. I start at the bottom and I hold the tape on there on the bottom, and then I kind of put pressure on there while I pull it up to the top, and then I'm use a little bit of force just to make sure it's stuck down there. Okay, then after you're done with that, then you can put your top cover back on, your touchpad cover there. It kind of goes under that hinge there, the front, and just make sure, you can't really see it, just make sure it goes over those cables in the back. Okay, now push that back. Now it kind of clips down, so it's all in there. Now you go back, reseat the cables. Okay, put your screws back in, clip your memory back in, your hard drive back in, and then put your screws back in to get it, you know, all fastened in there. And another thing too with these screws, the smaller ones for the hard drive, you can't use the larger ones. They'll screw in there, but you don't want to screw those larger ones in there. You'll damage components on the system board and the audio NIC port, little card they have in there. Then turn it back over, or before you turn it back over, put this rear cover back in. It just clips in there. It helps to have the door or the top open a little bit. Clips down. And you can turn it back over to the back. Then put your screws back in. Over here. And then remember the smallest screw, you might want to just put that in first to get it out of the way. That small screw goes right there. Make sure you get that done. Put your dust covers back on, your battery back in, and you're good to go. Thank you.